delighted to be here. I got to meet Dr. Barber today for the first time after admiring her for years, watching her on TV. So it's a privilege. How many of you have wondered what your purpose is? Yeah, we all wonder that. In a few minutes, I'm going to suggest 3 goals to make so that will automatically lead you into your purpose. But first I want to tell you, years ago, I used to go to these end-of-the-year goal-setting workshops, and they would always say, write your goals. Well, I was young, I thought I knew everything. I knew better than the teachers, so I said, they're in my head. That's okay, I don't have to write them. Well, one year, I did write my goals. Pretty interesting. I created so many things that year, and it was a life lesson for me. Yeah, they know what they're talking about. If you want to create something this year, write it down. Or you can make a vision board, because our subconscious mind sees in pictures. It loves pictures, and if we get serious and write something down, it knows we're serious, and it will do everything to help us create it. If you knew you could have anything you wanted, what 20 goals might you write? Something good to think about. And anytime we write a goal, we put it in the positive. We don't say, I'm going to quit wasting my time. No, we make a goal to spend our time wisely. So always write it in the positive. And at the end of it, write this or something better. Because our little minds don't always know the right things, but the universe does. So if we give it a little leeway and say, hey, if there's something better, I'll take that too. So the first thing I'm going to suggest that you write is that in 2016, I'm going to love myself to the nth degree. Well, that sounds kind of airy-fairy, big deal. What does that even mean? Well, it means like Dr. Mark was saying, what kind of fertilizer am I putting in my body? Is this food I'm about to eat the highest way I can love myself? Is the way I talk to my children and my spouse the highest way I can love myself? At work, am I expressing myself in the highest way I can love? Or maybe the highest way I can love would be to let that job go and get another one. But constantly, on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, be thinking about how I can love myself, how I can really love myself in that moment. Because the more love we have, the more, of course, we're going to give out. And as Jamel said, Reverend Dolores said, there are 2 emotions, fear and love. We get to choose. I love quotes, and I love this quote. We're not born winners, we're not born losers, we're born choosers. So we get to choose every day. Do I want to choose fear? Do I want to choose love? If I choose fear, the little fear guys will go out and say, hey, we're having a party at Nancy's house. Come on, join me. And I beget more fear. But on the other hand, if I choose love, all the love in the universe comes and says, hey, join me, we're going to Nancy's house. Which one do I want? I know this woman who weighs 300 pounds, and she told me how she hates her body. And I said, how can you live with yourself every day and hate your body? And she said, look at me, look at my hips, look at these rolls of fat on me, how can I love this? And I said, well, you've been trying to change your body with hatred and fear. How's that working for you? Not too well. So she's really working on being able to look in the mirror and not hate what she sees. And she's changing her mind. She's going from over here, from fear, into love. If we love ourselves, everything changes. Everything changes. Maybe about 15 years ago, I was in a place of really loving myself. I was meditating, I was eating right, my relationships were good. One morning I got up and went to spin class at 6 a.m. After spin class, I decided to go to Publix and get a few items. So I get in that line, 10 items or fewer, which is supposed to be fast, but most of the time it's slower than the other ones. And I got in that line, and there were 2 women ahead of me, and just as the woman ahead of me was about to be checked out, she said, "Oh my gosh, I forgot something. I'm so sorry, I forgot something. I'll be right back." And she goes to get something, and by that time there are a couple of people behind me. Excuse me. And she comes back and she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, I kept you all waiting." And I surprised myself when I opened my mouth and I said, "Listen, if you're going to do something, do it. Stand up for yourself. You don't have to apologize." Well, she looked at me and she burst into tears. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, me and my big mouth. And she looked at me and she said, "You're the voice of God. And it still touches me." She said, "I have to put my dog down today. And I've been second guessing whether to do it." Well, then the man behind her said, "We had to do that too with our German Shepherd." And then the woman behind him said, "Yeah, Fluffy the cat was 18 and we hated to let her go." So in that Publix line, we had a moment. It was a beautiful moment. And it was because I was in love with myself and I could let my true self be there. So did I stay in that place? Nah, I couldn't stay in that place. I wasn't ready to live in self-love yet. I had, for one thing, I had to learn about that voice that Jamel mentioned, that critical voice. It's called the inner critic. We all have one. I mean, just ask yourself how many times you might have had a judgment since you got here today. We all have it. But I had to learn not to listen to that voice because it seemed so big. And I didn't realize it was telling me lies. When it told me I didn't do this right, or I did that wrong, or how I looked ugly, I gained 5 pounds, or whatever it said. Or when it said about somebody else, "Oh, she's no good, you don't want to talk to her." I had to learn not to listen to that voice. So the second thing I would urge everybody to write is detach from that critic. We're not going to get rid of it. It's going to be there. But instead of it being this big, my critic is like this now. And my love is this big, and my critic is down to not much. I will hear the critic and I'll say, "Thank you for sharing, but I know you're lying." So those 2 things are very important. Oh, and one other thing I'll say, it's really important to give the critic a funny name because it sort of brings it down to size. I named my critic Joy-Sucking Judy. As soon as I would feel really good, she would say something to bring me down. And it wasn't fun. I didn't like it. So think of a good name for your critic, and it makes them seem not so powerful, because they're not. They're not powerful. They're just a crazy little voice inside of us that our love totally overruns. The third thing I want to invite you to write is, what do you want written on your tombstone? Think about it. Maybe, like Dr. Geffen, what he wanted written on his tombstone is to find a cure for cancer. Wow. Or maybe he just wanted said, she was a loving woman. Maybe he was a great dad. Whatever you want on your tombstone, you will begin to live toward. You will begin to live it because you've given that message to your subconscious mind. And it really is important to consciously choose these. Remember, we're not born winners, we're not born losers, we're born choosers. We get to consciously direct our lives instead of they're just going willy-nilly. So, these are the 3 things. In 2016, I'm going to love myself to the nth degree. Every minute, every day. In 2016, I detach from my inner critic. In 2016, I write and live into what I want written on my tombstone. I've really liked being here with you today, and I know that 2016 for all of us is going to be greater than we can ever imagine.